Hello, everybody. Welcome to Module 4. So, like I do every week, I'm going to talk about what we're going to be learning this week. And so, let's begin. I'm going to be online here. I'm going to go to Module 4. And let's look at the aim section first so we know what our goals are for this unit. I want you to be able to explain the importance of phonics and the basic principles of teaching it. This is really critical. We know that with the science of reading, we know that kids need systematic and explicit phonics teaching. And so we're going to be talking about this in this module. We want you to be able to teach consonant letter sound correspondence, teach vowel correspondence, pattern strategies. How do we teach high frequency words? We're going to be talking about fluency and syllable analysis. So a lot going on this week. So what will you be reading this week? Go to the Learn. You actually have 2 chapters this week. So you will be reading chapter 5 on phonics, high frequency words and syllables, and 6 on high frequency words, fluency, and extended reading. I also have a lot of videos that are about phoneme graphing relationships, orthographic mapping, how to teach syllables, and so forth. So I think these are going to be good resources for you. So in week 2 and 3, you did article critiques. That is now over. So if you were not a fan of the article critiques, we're not doing any more. And in week 4 is when we start our case studies, which I'm going to get into. But first, let's talk about our discussion. Our discussion forum is you are going to do another video demonstration like you did last week. Last week, it was on phonemic or emergent literacy. This week, you need to do a demonstration, something related to phonics, syllable analysis, or high frequency words. And again, I want to stress, I want you to demonstrate it. Don't just talk about it, demonstrate it, teach it. You don't have to have a child with you, but you do need to model and demonstrate because we're trying to learn from each other how to do these things. That's your discussion post. Your other assignment for this week is we're going to be doing case studies. For the next 4 weeks, you're going to have a case study. And this case study that we have this week, you have a student. Student A is a 2nd grader that is reading on a pre-primer level. And so that student has been given the core phonics assessment. And we can see that the student knows 96% of their letter names, 100% of lowercase. They know 76% of their consonant sounds, all of their long vowels, only 80% of their short vowels. However, when they get to short CVC words, they didn't know any of them. So what's that telling us? They know a lot of their letters, not all, a lot, but they have not, when they put those letters together to do CVC words, they crash and burn. So now let's look at some of that was from the core phonics assessment. Now I want to show you data from an assessment called iReady, and many schools in the United States use iReady. So we can see that in all the reading skills, the students is at a kindergarten level. And so phonological awareness, phonics, high frequency words, everything is at a kindergarten level. We can also see some information. Their Lexile score is a below reading at 245. So you'll need to look up Lexile scores to see where that puts the student, but it's low. It's at a kindergarten, pre-kindergarten level. We know that this student can read the first 100 sight words from flashcards, but they can't recognize sight words in context. It's a pleasant child from a single parent family, have multiple siblings, they have moved a lot, very interested in sports. So for your case studies, you're going to do these steps for all 4. First, you're going to write a summary of student A. So this needs to be a non-biased, just the facts. Where is this student? So if you were presenting this information to a parent, this is where your child is academically for reading, how would you present that information to them? Then you have to have 3 measurable and attainable goals for student A based on their literary progress. So, what would the student do, or what are the next steps for the student? Now, these goals need to be SMART goals. If you have not done written SMART goals before, I will send you some examples, but I'm going to share my screen and just uh, show you an example. So, a SMART goal stands for specific, so it needs to be very specific. Um, it needs to be measurable. It needs to be achievable, relevant, and time bound. So, I'm going to go back to our case study here, and let's talk about what a possible SMART goal could be. So, I know that this student knows most of their letter sounds, but they're crashing and burning on the CVC words. So I'm just going to give an example. A SMART goal might be something like, given 10 CVC words, the student will uh, decode the words with 80% accuracy by the end of 3 weeks. Okay. That's just off the top of my head right there. It's very, very specific. So you're going to have 3 specific measurable goals, and then you need 3 instructional strategies that you would implement to meet those goals. So you don't have to have 3, actually, I'm sorry, you do have to have 3 strategies for each goal. And make sure your strategies reflect your goals. And then the last part is explain how you would integrate faith in addressing the student. Here's the rubric. And I want to clarify, you only have to have 3 strategies in all, not 3 for each goal. Okay. So again, let me repeat that: 3 strategies in all, not for each goal. So again, you're going to write a summary of where the student is academically in non-biased academic way. Number 2, you're going to have 3 measurable goals based on the data. Number 3, you're going to have 3 instructional strategies that will meet those goals that you have. And then lastly, you're going to explain, how can I integrate faith into this lesson? So how will you be assessed for this assignment? Number 1, I'm going to be looking at, does the summary accurately portray the student? Does it demonstrate thoughtful reflection? Is it aligned with the data? Do you have 3 SMART goals that are measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound? This is where a lot of students struggle because they maybe will leave out the time bound or it's not measurable. The goals should be appropriate, developmentally appropriate, and research based. So in weeks 2 and 3, you looked up what is good research. Why did I do that first? Because I want you to have strategies that are research based. So if you do a strategy that is not research based, then that would be wrong. They need to be developmentally appropriate and research based. All 3 instructional strategies are aligned to those stated goals. They're detailed. They demonstrate your understanding. And guys, you don't have to make up these strategies. Your book has the strategies in it. And then lastly, how can you as a Christian educator integrate faith? This isn't contrived, but how can you integrate faith to reflect your Christian faith? Because we want in everything that we do to integrate our faith. The writing, we want it to be coherent. We want you to have APA in text citation. So if you got those sources from your book or other places, the interventions, you need to put that in there. So it should be in APA format. I don't want you to forget that you cannot use AI to write your paper. You can use AI to research. You can use AI to help you form an outline, but it cannot write your paper. Okay. And so if you use Grammarly Plus, that will show up as AI. Okay. So those are your 2 assignments, and you will have 4 case studies to do in all. The next thing I want to do is talk to you a little bit about a couple of things related to this topic. So I'm going to get out of this, and I am going to go to a handout on syllables. Here we go. Okay, so here we have the 6 different types of syllables, and I just wanted to remind you of some of these syllable types. And so the first one we have is, and I'm trying to move my screen here. Okay, there we go. We have closed syllables, and we know that a closed syllable has 1 vowel. And so we can see in dog, the O is closed. And so all closed syllables have the short vowel sound. So here are some examples. If we had the word gum, we can see that it's closed. And so you're going to pronounce all of these with a short vowel sound. Open syllables are when the vowel is long. So we can see in this example, it would be t-a, it would not be ta. If you had an N there, it would be tan, right? Because the vowel would be closed. So H-I, the I is open. So we're going to say I. We have vowel consonant E words. These are vowels followed by consonant E, and the E is silent. Now, I know I'm going over these fast, but I have an activity I want to show you. We have consonant LE syllables. This is when the final syllable E is silent, and it sounds like the sound. And then we have R-controlled vowels. These are when the AR, OR, UR, ER, IR, and that R kind of controls that sound, and you're going to say it R, or, and so forth. We call that the bossy R. We have vowel teams, and these are when you have 2 vowels that make 1 sound. Okay, so what I want to do now is I kind of want to go over a lesson, what I would like you guys to do to demonstrate a lesson. So syllables need to be taught. And so here's what I might do as I started a lesson. So I might say, okay, boys and girls, here we have the word, a word. This is a big word, right? If you had a student that wanted to read this word, what would you do? This could be overwhelming. But you would explain to your students, if you chunk the word, if you break the word up, then you can read the word. I love these letters that I have because the vowels are in red and then the consonants are in blue. So one of the first things that you're going to do is you're going to tell the student that you have to break we're going to talk about breaking the word into syllables. Now, in this case, there are 3 different vowels. So we know it's going to have 3 different syllables. Now, we could do this, couldn't we? That would be fantastic. Doesn't sound right. If we move here, we have and fan. We know that is a closed syllable. Tas, that is another closed syllable. Tick, fantastic. So we have an example of 3 closed syllables. And what's great about this is you're showing the kids that you can take a very large word, and when you break it up into chunks, you can read it. So let's go over some other vowels, some other examples. So if I had the word, I'm going to put it on here. Here's another word. Now we know that we have to break the word into vowels. We have to have vowels in each syllable. So if we did that, it would be magnet. That doesn't make sense, does it? Let's move it over. Now let's try it. Magnet. Magnet. We have closed syllable, closed syllable. Magnet. So your kids may divide it in the wrong place. Just have them to decode it and see if it sounds right. Let's try another one. Okay. In this example, we know that we need to divide it into vowels. We had to have a vowel in each syllable. So now we could do this, couldn't we? That would be robot. Let's do this. Let's try this way. If the O is here, we know that that is a open syllable. So it's going to say R-O. Now we have a closed syllable, bot, robot. Try another one. Now I'm going to put this up here and I want you to tell me what kind of syllable this is. Okay, what kind of syllable is this? I hope you said silent E syllable. Okay, so you would teach kids, if I cover the word, what is this word? Ma'ak, right? Ma'ak, because it's closed. If I add the E, you're going to have to teach them that rule, that the E is the bossy E, and it's going to make the A say its name. So now the word is make. So this is one syllable, make. Let's try another one. And I want you to tell me what is the rule. Okay, so we said that if there are two vowels, this is a vowel team. So we have the vowels together, and we know that OA makes one sound, boat, boat. So this is what you would be teaching kids. If you've taught them your vowel teams, then they should know this is one sound, O sound. Okay, got another one. And I want you to tell me what the type of syllable it is. Okay, so this is a R controlled vowel. So you will have taught that these have to stay together. So this is going to be bird, bird, one syllable. That one more. So you probably know what this one is. Maybe we have one more syllable type. Okay, so let's look at this. In this case, we're going to divide the word here. CAN is a closed syllable, can, and then we have the DLE, okay? So that is going to, this E is actually silent. The L cannot stand alone as a syllable. That's why we have to pull that E in here. So it's can, dull, ul. In candle, the D plus the LE makes the dull sound. Without the D, the LE would not be a clear, would not form a clear syllable. So when you see an LE at the end of the word, you need to keep it together and bring in that consonant before it. Okay? So that's one way that you can teach it. So we can see that all of these different words, I just showed you some different types of syllables. And so you need to teach your kiddos all the different syllable types. And after you've taught them how to, your grapheme uh, phoneme correspondence so that they know all of their letter sounds, they know their digraphs, their blends, and so forth. Then, when you begin to do syllables, they can begin decoding multisyllable words, which is extremely important for kiddos. But they need to understand by breaking it into syllables, they can decode a lot easier. The other thing I want to show you is something that I think is very important about high frequency words. So let me show this and then we'll be done. So go up a little bit. We know that with the research that we've done with orthographic mapping, an old way of teaching sight words is students to simply memorize those words. Here's 100 fry words you're going to memorize. And we would do flashcards, repeated chanting, writing words 10 times each. But we know through research that the brain cannot store thousands of words as pictures. It's just too overwhelming. So what we need to do when it comes to sight words is decode with orthographic mapping. So research shows that students learn more effectively when they connect the sounds to the word. So we have a lot of words that are sight words that are actually decodable, or at least partly decodable. So if you look at the fry words, which a lot of schools require kids to do, 63% of those words can be decoded. So if they can be decoded, why would you not have kids decode them? Why are you having them memorize them if they can decode them? Another 19% are mostly decodable with just one irregular part, and fewer than 20% are truly irregular and must be remembered by heart. So the words that you really need to teach kids by heart are very minimal. So I would say go through your words that you consider sight words. If they're decodable, kids need to be attacking those through decoding. So for fry, again, only about 20% are truly irregular. This work aligns with Lene Aries' research that shows that sight word recognition develops through orthographic mapping. You have to anchor the sounds to the spoken word and then map it to the graphemes. And this bonds them together through repeated decoding in print. Once mapped, they are stored in long-term memory. That's extremely important. And when they are stored in long-term memory, that helps with fluency. Okay, so today, again, I went over what you need to do today. You have 2 chapters that you're going to be reading. You have a discussion post where you're going to be modeling and demonstrating a strategy. Then you have your first case study. I do have office hours every Thursday at 6 o'clock. So if you have any questions about this assignment, I hope that you will reach out to me early and come on Thursday. If you've never written a SMART goal, please come in. I know we have people that are overseas and in different time zones. If those office hours don't work, just let me know. I hope you enjoy this module. This is critical that you know how to teach phonics, systematic instruction, because this is where the rubber meets the road, where kids learn how to read. Okay, have a great day. Thank you.